Welcome. I'm so happy to be with you on Cloud Record Music Podcast. It gives me great pleasure to spotlight my special guest, Aaron Manswell, musician, music composer, and conductor. This is a conversation you do not want to miss. You'll be charmed and inspired. Don't go anywhere. And now, a Cloud Record Music Spotlight. Aaron Manswell is a composer of soulful music, painting vivid picture to contemporary theme using a sorted palette. A native of Toronto, Ontario, his songs have been premiered and recorded across North America by ensembles including the Grand Philharmonic Choir, the Amadeus Choir of Greater Toronto, the Natalian Deity Chorale, and University of Choral Art Initiative, a Southern California-based choir who featured his song Stick with Love on their 2024 album Tetrapasty of Becoming, which debuted at #1 on the Billboard Traditional Classical Album chart. This song made him the winner of the 2022 Grammy Philharmonic Choir Canadian Wide Composition Contest and the running-up for the 2023 American Choral Director Association Brock Prize for Student Composers. In February 2023, he was featured artist for the Canadian Opera Company's Showcase series, delivering Offspring Live, a concert of his work reflective of his simultaneously relationship with classical R&B, hip-hop, and gospel music. In April 2024, Manswell was appointed composer-in-residence of the Toronto Mendelssohn Choir. He is a music composer and keyboardist for a multiple award-winning Canadian pop artist and has composed original score for film. Now, I'm excited to have this captivating conversation with the most gifted and talented Aaron Manswell, who is joining us from his hometown in Ontario, Canada. Good afternoon and welcome to Cloud Record Music Podcast. I'm your host, Maurine McFarlane, and I have a very special guest here today, all the way from Canada. His name is Aaron Manswell, and Aaron is a musician, a composer, a conductor, and he does all these wonderful things, which we're going to hear about today. And so, Aaron, welcome to Cloud Record Music Podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Maurine. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for taking the time. I'm really excited to hear about you're very gifted. You do a lot of things. So I really want my audience to hear about all the wonderful sound that you're making, the music, and you're a multi-talented young man. So let's get started in our conversation, because when I was reading up on your skills and listening to your sound, I thought, do my audience know what a composer is? Because it says, you're a music composer. And what exactly a role of a composer that, in the music?
Yeah, the role of a composer is, I wouldn't say on a basic level, the one that is writing the music, right? He's manufacturing the sounds, everything from the ground up in terms of anything that you listen to as far as music is concerned, the one that puts it all together and is just, he or she is the one that conceptualizes, just the original concept of the music.
Okay, that's interesting. So, for example, I write lyrics and I usually turn it over to someone that work with us named Austin. And so is that different from an arranger? The person, a composer when they create that, the sound and the beat, is that basically what you do?
Yeah, so the sound and the beat. Now you're talking more production.
Okay.
And so, but you use the word that I like, which is an arranger. And an arranger technically is somebody who would take the original content that the composer writes and, kind of build upon that and put their own taste on that original content. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It's just you do some, and you're a conductor as well. And I know what a conductor is, somebody when you go to those symphony,
Yes.
the term, right?
Exactly, yes.
Now, did you have to go to school for that, for all the things that you do, or just something you develop over the years?
It's both actually. I'm somebody that started writing music way before I decided to pursue a degree or higher education in it. I grew up with the opportunity to be able to write for the church that I grew up in, and also the school that I went to. And so I want to say I wrote my first song as the graduation song for my grade 12 graduating class.
Really?
It was a choir song. And so just kind of being able to have that type of training or that type of opportunity with, such young and formidable voices.
So you were raised in the church. Were you involved in like the ministry of the music ministry of the church?
Yes. Playing the piano, directing the choir, even writing music for the choir. And the church is such a great place to, for young musicians like myself to, kind of have like a launch pad, being able to have, an incubator of testing your concepts, your ideas, either on the choir, whether it's playing for the services on the piano. It gives you a great place to obviously learn how to read the music in the hymnal, but then also while you're playing gospel music, play it by ear. So these are all different things that help towards your development as a composer and a musician. And so, going to college where there's a more structured environment of learning how to write music, it was a natural transition for me to want to go ahead and do that.
That's fascinating. And here's what's so fascinating for me with people with your gifts. So you would be considered, do you play instruments as well? Do you play instruments as well?
Yes, I do.
You do? And do you sing as well?
I do. I'm not the greatest singer, but yes, I do.
You're like a one-man band, okay? But I also noticed that you work with several choir. I guess that's from your church background, right?
Yeah.
So when you're creating these different, for example, there's one that I like all of them that I've listened to, by the way. They're just so beautiful, right? It's called, is it Scared of Change?
Oh yeah, Scared of Change, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now you have to tell us what inspired that piece that you wrote that, correct? And
yes,
you create that music. Okay. So what inspired that piece?
Well, I mean, the title is Scared of Change. And originally I wrote that song, I want to say in my first year of college. So I was maybe 19 years old. And just the transition from moving from Toronto, Canada to Huntsville, Alabama, which is where I went to school. I went to a school called Oakwood University.
In America.
In Huntsville, Alabama. And, just that immediate change of scenery, your emotions are, man, I'm just scared of all this difference.
Yeah.
And so the song was just a way to kind of relate to, for anybody who's going through, just a big change in their life, just to deal with that anxiety, deal with that, whatever emotions come with dealing with that process, and just put it into a song and just make it as relatable as possible. And yeah, that was the inspiration.
Well, not only is it beautifully played, by the way, and but when I think about it, I'm thinking, it's a perfect song, right? Because one of the things about human nature is change is just something that's going to happen through life.
Yes.
And yet we're so afraid to face it initially, right?
Exactly.
So you're talking about your experience going to college into a different country away from your family. And then as you go through another phase in your life and you face another level of change, people get scared, right? And look at even the American election, how fear was a driving factor, to
Mm.
get most of America to vote for a certain type of candidate. So fear is such a dominating force in us, right? And
Yes.
even people that say they're people of God, right? And the word says, perfect love casts out fear, but fear is a dominant force, and it always seems like it take over people's lives so
You,
often.
and you know what? To your point with that, there towards the end of the song, some of the lyrics are, "If you see my future through those eyes, the Lord can see through. You would question my belief and why I'm scared to pursue." It's almost like why are we even scared in the first place if you have
What
that belief,
exactly? Yes.
right?
And it's amazing because I think we tend to forget
Mhm.
just to look back and see what God has done in the past. And maybe we wouldn't be so afraid, but we seem to have short memory as people. But it's
There you
beautifully done and such a young age to put it in
go.
music. Oh my goodness. No, that's the music that should have been on the platform because I would tell everyone, go and get it. Now it's on the YouTube, which means if someone tried to download it, were they allowed to do that?
They can. I mean, it's copywritten, so people will do whatever they want to do, anyways. So,
I know,
you
but
know.
you should be paid for it. It's absolutely beautiful.
No, I'm working on getting it published, at least the sheet music, so more choirs can sing it. But
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh, listen, I am. So you were born and raised into Toronto. Well, no, in your bio it says Toronto, Ontario. Or is it Toronto, Canada? I thought Toronto, Ontario was like cities.
No, so Ontario is the province or the state, and Toronto is the
Oh,
city within Ontario.
okay. Okay. All right. Okay. And so you were born and raised.
Born and raised, um, specifically Scarborough. Scarborough is almost like the next city over towards the east of Toronto, but it's still
Okay.
considered Toronto as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and went to a school called Crawford Adventist Academy, which is a Christian Seventh Day Adventist institution. It went there from all the way from JK, which is junior kindergarten, all the way to grade 12. And it's a very, I say there's no other school like Crawford in Toronto just because
Mm-hmm.
it's very focused on preparing students holistically. There's a large Black population there,
Okay.
which is also something
Mm-hmm.
that's rare for Toronto. Just about maybe 500 students, but we all grew up together. And there's a heavy focus on academia, a heavy focus on music, a heavy focus on Christianity, and yeah, it's an amazing place.
So it pays off for you. Now, do you do music full time? Because I see that you work with a lot of different choirs.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, I do.
the Philharmonic Choir is one of them. So this is like a full time gig for you, music. It's like a career thing, right?
Currently, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So now you can explain what this is. You are the appointed composer in residence for the Toronto Madison pronounce that choir. What is it?
Mendelssohn, yes,
Medicine?
yes,
Medicine
Mendelssohn.
choir. Okay, so in resident mean you have to live there? Is this like a campus or something?
So composer in residence means that I am hired by the choir to write for them for this particular season of 24-25. And so I am guaranteed 3 premieres, which
Mm,
means that um, on 3 different occasions, 3 different concerts, they're premiering a new work of mine, specifically written for them. So I get to meet with them. I get
mm.
to discuss certain concepts with them. Hey, do you like this? Hey, do you like that? But I'm like the in-house, writer for that choir for a year.
Okay, so you write your own music though, and so you
Yeah,
do own them yourself, even though you're singing it, they're performing it.
exactly. Yes,
Oh,
but
that's
they have
great.
the right to premiere it though.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, that's good for you too, right?
Yes, of course.
To expose your music, right? Very good, very good. Mm. Now, the one we were just talking about, we were talking about Scared of Change, but there's the one that I really love is Stick with Love. That's the one that's on the platform right now, right?
Yes, it's currently out really everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music. But it was recorded by a choir called the Choral Arts Initiative, which is a
Mm.
choir based out in Southern California. And so, yeah, this is Stick with
You're
Love.
all over the
It's
place. I love it.
you,
Yes, you're great.
you know what? I'm just honored that all these choirs are wanting to sing my music and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's a song based on the words of Martin Luther King. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. And then I
Wow.
took those lyrics and then expanded on it. I realized that hate is just made of something related mainly to fear. And then the next
Mhm.
part says, "Don't be afraid when you don't understand. Search and you'll find the truth. And then when you found it, remove the fear to make room for love."
Oh, so beautiful.
I love to just put messages of dealing with civil rights, just everyday common messages within my music.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Wow. That is beautiful. Well, I am going to give our audiences a treat and to listen to about a minute of the song and encourage everyone. It's on the music platforms, every single one, to go and download it. Look for Aaron, and that's Waron Manswell, and it's called Stick with Love. You're going to love it. So go down and download it right now. But here's a little glimpse of it, just a piece for your taste. So enjoy. All right. What do you say? I told you. It was fantastic. I just love it. And the group that played it, they so well done. Um, so basically, this particular piece, just to stick with love for a moment, it inspired you from that civil rights era of Martin Luther King, right?
correct. Yeah,
So, so you're obviously a person that has a great conscious mind when it comes to justice and justices. Would you say
yeah,
that since you could
yeah,
write
of
such a
course.
beautiful piece?
So I actually wrote the piece in 2021 or 2022, which was like the height of everything that was happening within during the pandemic. The George Floyd,
Hmm.
Ahmaud Arbery, all those different names of just black
Right.
injustice. And so it was just a
Hmm.
message, to say, hey, stop judging, right? There's more to whatever you see. Um, we are people that have so much to offer. And so when you lead with hate, it's
Hmm.
almost
You're
like you're,
missing out on so much, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. When you think about it, and there's not every person that out there is like that, but so many. But their world, if the world was only made up of, say, white folks, just
Mhm.
imagine how dull and boring would be. Because the different culture put brings so much to, and the fusion of the different culture that make it so vibrant, right?
Right.
And so much more interested. And not only that, we all bring something different to the
Exactly.
world,
And
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and the beauty of the song is that it's not just for black and brown people. It's for
Hmm.
anybody who feels like they've felt somebody judge them and not give them a chance. You know,
Right.
so it could be
Right.
any race, really. Yeah.
Right. Or see them even less than. Yeah. Which is quite fascinating because that is so opposite, people that are afraid of inclusiveness and want to share the space of this world that God created for everyone,
Mhm.
missing the very teaching of Jesus Christ. you know, to love your neighbor as yourself.
There you
And
go. Yeah.
you didn't just say people that look like you. Your neighbor is anyone, every person, you know?
There you go. You're correct. Completely correct.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, good going. Wow, how about that? Now, I read this somewhere that you're also the producer and keyboard of multi-award winners, Canadian pop artists. So you're just well-rounded.
Yeah, you know what? I just count it a blessing to be able to be around all these amazing people, and the fact that they trust me to, be a part of their legacy.
Mhm.
I've had the opportunity to, to play keyboards and perform with, multiple R&B artists, and so, I don't want to get too
I
technical
understand.
with it, but yeah, I'm just honored to be able to share the stage with some of these people.
So you're that well known down there. Now you also travel into the compose original score for movies, right? For films, right? So is
Yes,
there one particular one that maybe you can tell us that you have composed the music for? Because I certainly like to check it out.
yeah, you know what? There was a movie entitled Henry, which was a sci-fi film. It's a short film. I'm actually currently working on my first feature film right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how much I can talk about it, but it's actually a
Don't,
score.
don't get too much information, just in case.
Yeah, so it's my
Yeah.
first feature film. It's a Canadian film, a film
Mm-hmm.
based out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Canadian production, Canadian
Mm-hmm.
direction, and it's filmed out here as well. So still very young in that industry, but
Mm-hmm.
again, very very grateful for the opportunity to get to work
Right.
with these people.
Well, I'm glad I'm talking to you because now I'm thinking because I have a project that but I was trying to find the right person who can do animation. But it was a story that when my first granddaughter was born, my daughter, I have two children, and my daughter and her husband, their first child was a girl.
Okay,
And I, as a writer, I write a message to her, and I wanted to make it into like a short film animation, right?
okay,
And it's just been there because I've not found the right people that can do the animation like a Disney without costing me the price of a Disney.
right,
Right? And most of
right.
the animations doesn't quite fit what I'm looking for. But I certainly would love to have somebody to create the music for it. And now that I know that you do that, we must talk.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
Absolutely. You see how small the world is. Sometimes, things get delayed life
Yep.
because you're supposed to wait for the right pieces to come together.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
because when I'm finished with it, I'd like to present it to the film festival as a short piece, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So,
Yeah,
mhm.
it's a good plan.
Yeah,
Hmm.
wow, that is just so awesome. So, what is your process when you're writing your music that you go through? Like, what is the process like? For example, when I write lyrics, I don't have a particular project, but it has to be different. Somebody who writes music, I usually get inspired by even things or people, or sometimes the Lord Himself just downloads certain thing in my spirit, and it comes out, and I write it, and it's a lyrics, and I give it to someone. But some like one like yourself, who is more technical, obviously. What is your process that you go through to take something from a thought to you actually have it in paper where others are or performing it for you?
Well, you know what? Let's actually start with your process in terms of you like to start with lyrics, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I like to do both. I like to sometimes begin with the lyrics because sometimes those lyrics and a certain quote have a certain rhythm when you say it, and so I kind of just say it over and over. What musical rhythm can I find with whatever is being said? And then I
Mhm.
try and match it with a melody, and then I maybe go over to the piano, and then the same way that I learned to play by ear, growing up in church, is the same way that I'll try and match whatever I'm singing on the piano at the same time, and then I'll obviously build an entire song around that, and then possibly um, go on to my computer and then record. like, a small demo version of it. Or the other way would be kind of like you, where you said, you might get a download of a melody or something like that. And there's no words or anything yet. There's no concept yet, but you're just like, man, this melody sounds really, really catchy, or I just can't get rid of it. And then I'll take out my phone, I'll record a voice note.
That's what I do too. Yes.
Yeah, just to make sure that you don't forget it and it's fresh. Because to me, the one that the very, very first melody that comes to me is the best one, because it's so unfiltered and it's just raw, And yeah, so I'll take that voice note, again, go back to the piano, figure it out, build a whole kind of song around that melody, and yeah, I hope that gives like at least a
Yes, it does.
okay.
I was thinking though, and it's probably the same for you, but whenever I get a thought or function, or as a download of to write a particular lyrics, I'm usually going through something, which is amazing now that I'm thinking about it. I'm either going through an experience or coming out of an experience, and I'm expressing it through these words, or something is so concerning to me that I'm praying so hard about it, and I'm looking for answer, and the Lord downloaded into my spirit, and it comes to be a song. It turned out to be beautiful, but I was never just like sitting around like people who actually write lyrics. That's what they do, because that's not, I don't think I have a music company, record label, I should say, and I write out of the lyrics for it that I have, but I realize they all come about from some kind of experience that I'm going through or coming out of. How about yourself? Is that the same for you, or?
Yeah, definitely. I think everything that I've written so far, especially that has lyrics, is I've gone through it. But then there's other times which I think a lot of people don't really understand sometimes, is that you might have a block, you might have a writer's block, or you might not have something that you think is worth putting into your music. And so you still have to come up with certain methods and certain tactics to be able to still get that song finished. Because like for someone like me who has deadlines, whether it's with the Toronto Mendelssohn Choir or whoever I'm writing for at the time, you got to have it ready by a certain time. And so there has to be certain techniques that you always can rely on. And so I think developing those techniques too helps a lot.
Yeah. So what type of music do you listen to when if you've ever had them in the dark moments in your life, and you need to get back more to the, space of a good vibe?
I think the quintessential answer would be gospel music. It's very inspirational. I grew up on it, but I think quintessential is good because, I think, God obviously has blessed that music, and there's so many different messages that can help you get out of whatever dark place you're in. Even if you're not in a dark place, it just helps to set you on the right path. I listen to gospel when I'm working out. I listen to it when I'm,
Wow, you're just into it. That's great.
Yeah, it's a big part of my life.
Yeah. I decide to focus on music that are positive and uplifting, because we have enough negativity within our world in terms of music, and especially in our communities. And so I understand, I focus on those things as well. And you're right. The right message in a song can just change one's perspective and one mood.
Of course,
fun. Yes, it works absolutely.
And I think,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think, we need to also just kind of give credence to the power of music. There's certain things that we can say, just us talking, but then we won't really listen to what it really means when it's put behind a melody. The power of music, it can't be understated.
That's for sure. And, music itself contributes so much to one's spiritual journey.
Yes.
Right? I've known music. You can hear the word in church, but music also, and the lyrics in the music, the word can also do some of the same things. It just pulls you in a space, take you in this another realm. That's
why the pastors, they always say we need, a certain music ministry to kind of help us, to lead us into the sermon.
Yeah.
There's certain things that spoken word can accomplish, but music helps to bridge that gap,
Yeah. So I have this question because I spoke to a conductor one in America, and this very talented Black conductor, music conductor, and we were talking about that there, even though they're few, they're not as many,
Mhm.
and there's so many giant, talented musical people of color, of minority, and yet they're not as many in that space in terms of
Mhm.
conducting of an orchestra. Is that the same, you think, in Canada? Is that, I know you do some conducting, but do you find that they don't have enough minority in that space?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think if you're relating it to the United States, it's definitely more sparse here in Canada. Um,
Mm,
and why that is, it could be obviously the fact that like we don't really grow up seeing that. And I think the more you see something, the more you want to be it.
mm-hmm,
But it could also be just the education system too. I believe that if there were more music catered towards Black culture within the educational system,
mm-hmm.
then you'd see more of us wanting to study other styles of music other than just
Right.
black music too. So there's a number of reasons.
Yeah, and here in America as well, they're taking the arts out of school a lot, which would help with that. But we need to get more um, young people of different minority groups to be, to learn these skills because we have a lot of talent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, wow.
And you know what? I think let me say this too. There's certain things I think as we as Black people that help us to flourish within those more European traditional classical spaces.
Hmm.
Whether it's like a sense of rhythm, from the music that we grow on, whether we're from a Caribbean background or even just or even an American background. There's certain syncopations within the music that we grow up in that kind of help and lend to more straightforward rhythms within the classical tradition. So there's different things that benefit us based on our culture.
Absolutely. Yes. Wow. And I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, to download the song that we both so love. It's called, is it the Scared of Change? That's the one that's out.
So Stick with Love is out.
I'm sorry. Stick with Love. You see, I
Yeah.
love them both. So Scared of Change is on his YouTube channel, which is listed below, and all of his social link is there. So please, follow him and subscribe as well to his YouTube channel. But the one song that is on the music platform is Stick with Love. So as we, today, right now, I want you to go and download it, and it's Aaron,
and it's
Aaron
and
Manswell.
it's by the Choral Arts Initiative. So
Ah,
you'll see
the
my name
choral.
in the credits as the writer, but the
Mhm.
artist is the Choral Arts Initiative.
Hear that? So go and support him and follow him and make sure that you're subscribing to his YouTube channel. Okay, but we want to help him get this going until he does the next one. And so, are you currently working on any project or that's not something you can share until it's finished?
Oh no, definitely. I'm always working. I'm working on my debut, I guess, EP. Maybe just like 5 or 6 original songs that I'm releasing. More on
Okay.
the inspirational side of things. I'm also a doctoral student at the University of Toronto,
Okay.
so I'm trying to wrap that up. So I have, um, my dissertation, which is like a big composition that I have to finish as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have my recital coming up. So there's different things. I'm always writing, and then of course my
Right.
residency with the Toronto Mendelssohn Choir, which
That's right.
requires me to have different premieres. Which matter of fact, I'm actually having another premiere with them next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, for their
Oh
Christmas
wow.
concert. So
I'm going to have to come to Canada just to
yeah,
catch
yeah.
one of your concerts. But when your EP come out, let me know because I'd love for you to come and talk about it with our audiences so they can, help support it.
Sure,
So,
definitely.
so that would be great. Well, congratulations on that. Yeah, someone such talent as you need to have your work out there so people can have access to it for real.
Yeah,
It's nice to give free things, but people need to appreciate your talent and pay for it.
Yes, thank you.
That's what I believe anyway. So, oh my goodness. Oh, Aaron, so quickly this time went by. Oh my goodness. I just so appreciate, I had the sense I was going to enjoy this, right? Because when I read your bio and what you do, I'm like, oh, I'm going to love this. I'm going to enjoy this. And I'm so glad that, we could do this today. And, I hope that our listeners help you at least with Stick with Love, to sell a lot of copies because it really is beautiful, So I just want to thank you for taking this time. And for our viewers, if you're here for the first time watching the Cloud Record Music Podcast, of course, I'd like for you to subscribe, ring the bell so you can get noticed. And please download this too, this podcast and enjoy it anytime. And once again, follow Aaron on is YouTube. Subscribe to it. And once again, Aaron, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.
And thank you, Maurine, for having me. Thank you for all that you're doing within the community and for highlighting creatives like myself. And hopefully we can work on your project soon.
Oh, I'm already thinking about it. You're kidding me. I'll be calling you about that. Yes. So thanks, everyone. Have a good healing and peace.